TV recently. Mama's crying all the time, is it because of me? Oh, my younger sister. Even Dad was weeping when he kissed her. Face all puffy like a blister, crying like he missed her. Since we moved away from the house where we used to play this, I'll understand one day, but I doubt it. Mama never say nothing about it. How'd it get to be so crowded? I found it a strain. Everywhere I look I see pain. I can't escape the feeling, maybe I'm to blame. So I strain to listen, pray for a decision, wishing that they were kissing. This feels like extradition or exile. Mama finds it hard to smile, so I make pretend cups of coffee in her favorite style. She says, child, I'm working so there's nothing you lack. But she knows I want my dad, I want my family back. Hit the road, Jack. Don't you come back, no, no more, no, no more. Hit the road, Jack. Don't you come back, no, 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 don't you come back no more. I'm on Lonely Street, age 43, couldn't gauge when to quit, so my wife quit me. Took offense, took the kids, I wish that was the end. But before she took her leave, she took care of my best friend. Working over hours, God send, was not the tactic. Cause even after 10 years I'm left with jack shit. Wanted to make the cash quick, had to work real late. Bad sex, my woman's vexed even if I stay awake. And if I'm honest, I had a little cake at the office I was eating. Yeah, we do our cheating over coffees, making tea for the bosses, making free with me. And I agree I got sleazy too easily, but shit, I'm 43. This doesn't usually happen to me, now I'm lonely. I'm wondering what my son's doing today. Suddenly I'm blinking like the screen on my computer display, and I'm drinking, concerned about what's down the track if I don't get my family back. I just want my family back. Come on, hit the road, Jack. Don't you come back, no, no more, no, no more. Hit the road, Jack. Don't you come back, no, 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 don't you come back no more. I'm on Lonely Street, number 53. Boarded up properly, I probably get pulled down. Litter all around inside, there's no sound and no light. But yo, it gets busy at night. People creeping, derelicts sneaking for a fix. Speaking on the way, the timbers creaking, roof leaking, the bricks come.
My name's Christian Lund. I'm from Dublin in Dartry, and I'm currently a master's student in UCD. I'm involved in JCI. I have a part-time job, and I also like to play sports, but can't find the time to obviously play the sports as much as I'd like to. JCI is Junior Chamber International. It's a young professionals development network for young leaders of tomorrow. So it gives you the framework or platform to work off to be able to develop your personal, your international, your business, and your community skills. Typical day for myself, no two days are the same as such, but depending if I'm in college, I go to college early in the morning or late at night on Tuesdays and Thursdays. I would be working part-time, so I normally work for McCann Fitzgerald's in Sir John Rogerson's Quay. I also have a number of part-time jobs in the week as well in respect to catering. I'm working catering at the moment. I have my own company, so I have everything's part-time. I don't do anything full-time. Everything's part-time, so I've got my own company as well. So it's a new startup, CCGT, and that's basically based around imports and exports. So I'm working on my taxes and all that type of stuff at the moment, which is quite tedious, but it's worth it though in the end. I think it's rewarding to be able to do everything and have the dynamics of being able to work part-time, where I'm not stuck at a desk 9 to 5. It's not your typical average sort of day. JCI took up a lot of my time this year, so we held a number of events, the Friendly Business Awards and the Startup of You. We also have a Leading for Growth Summit, which is taking place in the Institute of Chartered Accountants House on the 8th of November. So I'm busy with JCI in that regard, but also with my company. College will probably be taking over now a little bit more, but I'm very happy to be able to be involved in different aspects of the community as well. I lived abroad. I lived in the Caribbean for a while and in America, and then I came back and moved back home and went back to college. My parents, for a better word, they are priceless because they put in perspective what's really important. Ultimate goal: get qualified, try and get a highest degree possible in my master's. Will be my first prime objective. To be able to sit down and do the work and communicate because there's lots of opportunity with college when you're going to a different events. I think I might be able to ultimately try and work in my company then and try and make a bit of money. So I think if anyone has a passion, they should follow their passion. But I think it's important to be able to see different income streams that you can get from life, and be able to maximize these income streams to be able to live and to be able to be more dynamic. But the work-life balance for me is, at the moment, is quite strong. I'm able to work. I'm able to do my company part time. I'm able to volunteer part time, go to college part time. So everything's part time, but I think you can get busier and busier as you go along. So just to sort of be able to be mindful, I suppose. Like I remember reading about Sister Stan, and I went to one of her mindful classes. So if you're mindful, you're more or less living in the present instead of the future or the past. So it's important to be able to do that.
And finally then, do you think that you've compromised in any way, or that you've missed out in any way in maybe pursuing the work side of things with a vengeance?
Yeah, well, unfortunately I was in hospital for a short while, and I came out, it was more or less for exhaustion, and I came out and I realised that the most important things to me were my family.
Okay, Jodie, then tell us a bit about yourself.
Well, I was born, considering we were mentioning hospitals, I was born in a hospital called Somerset, in Cape Town, about 25 years ago, give or take. I'm from Cape Town originally, and when I got married, 2 months later, I moved over to Ireland, to be with Mr. Always Right, and
Never wrong as well. Make sure you put in never wrong, sweetheart.
Had you lived in Ireland before, no?
No, I actually haven't. I've lived in China before. I've lived in Scotland and England. But the first time I came over here was after we got married. I expected a better reception than I did at the airport that day.
It was cold. It was a Monday morning. It was cold and it was raining. I was only out of bed about an hour and a half. But I gave you a hug and a kiss, didn't I?
Hardly.
I did. Come on out of that. I did. And the sun came up.
It was the same reaction you'd give to a wet puppy. So.
Well, I gave you a nice reaction when we went home, didn't I then? Sweetheart.
Did you?
Yeah, I remember. You don't.
I don't.
I do. But anyway, less of that.
Was it a big decision anyway, coming over?
Well, no, not really, because, we spoke about it before. I think it would have been easier for me to move, with Cassidy eventually, than for Jonathan to leave Alex. It was something we spoke about, and I said to him, I think it's better if you were here, because, at least he could see Alex. And we, for me and Cassidy, whether we travelled to and fro to see our family, at least we'd be as a family together. So we thought it might be better. And I think the opportunities at the time in South Africa as well, especially for foreigners, it was a bit tricky. So we decided to do it that way. Although he said he'd like to retire to Cape Town one day.
Yes, our dream is a nice B&B up the coast.
Our dream.
Your
dream. My dream is to lay and have margaritas.
Well, you can have margaritas while I run the beam. You can lie out the back by the pool with the margaritas. I'll run the sausages and the rashers in the morning. And then we just push them out the door at 9 o'clock and then we're grand for the rest of the day.
Nothing. It's not about you anymore.
No, it's about both, sweetheart. Both are
no,
once.
but you've had your chance.
And Jonathan was talking then about his change in working circumstances, about that put any pressure, or?
In this 5 years we've had highs and we've had lows. I think especially in the beginning, me coming over and the situation being what it was in Ireland, it was hard. And we did worry a lot about what the future held. But I think we made a decision very early on to stand together.
It's not about the money. Like, money is fine, like, it helps you live and stuff like that. But if it doesn't make people live together or make any bond in a relationship or marriage or partnership.
I just think, I've never been a materialistic person. But obviously you need to get by, it's not an option, no matter where you live. And we just decided, it was hard, but we were going to work through it together. And that's
Make do what we had at the time, and the things will get better. You have to be positive. You're not. If you think negative, nothing's going to go right, or things won't. You think things won't get better. It's positive.
From me.
Yes, I did, sweetheart.
I've taught him to budget and everything because, being from South Africa, I've witnessed, poverty around me. Everywhere you go, you can see people.
Because-
I mean, you saw people in scratching in bins, looking for food and stuff. So you never take for granted what you do have, and I will carry that with me for the rest of my life. That, you know, it's not a given that you're entitled to everything in the world. So
I think a lot of people here, like when the times are booming, everybody is on the gravy train spending 20 quid every breakfast or every lunchtime like that, and it makes you realise that how wasteful we were.
Have
No.
kids from other relationships.
Yeah.
So was that hard to balance then? Like,
I think it was just trying to get used to it in the beginning. You know, Cassidy would have met Jonathan before, so it
Yeah.
was easier for him, I think. I mean, yes, it was a major adjustment. It did take time as well because he would have been used to being with my mom and them as well. And with Alex as well, I mean, that took time to build his trust, you know. And, I mean, eventually the boys are the greatest of friends. I think it's just they're at that age now where they're kind of doing their own thing.
like,
So,
so then you had to leave Cassidy in South Africa then when you went to work. Like, was that difficult?
yes, it was hard because, you know, I was missing out on parts of his life. But it was also something I needed to do for myself, you know, because I think in a sense, because it was something I wanted to do when I was younger and I never got the chance to. And then when the opportunity arose, you know, my parents were very supportive and told me to go, you know, get it out of my system so that when I came home, I could settle. But then, you know, I ended up marrying a
The better half.
Right.
You two seem to have like the work-life balance pretty much sussed then. So what advice would you give to anybody?
Work on it. Work on everything you do.
I think, you know, you should be able to compromise. In the beginning, we weren't great at compromising.
We're both
because-
very headstrong people.
Did I not tell you not to talk?
Yes, you did. See, but I don't listen. That's how we work on
Did
it.
I not tell you not
Yes,
to
you
talk?
did, yeah.
Anyway, so, I mean, you know, it's something that I think you need to work towards.
Perseverance. We do.
Maybe you need to listen.
I do listen.
Anyway, yeah, I think like it takes time because in the first year or so, like we argued a lot because we're just so different. But then eventually you get that balance, and even with when he's at work, you know, I wouldn't be phoning him all day anyway. And when he comes home, if he needs time, I give him space. You know, if he wants to unwind, he does, and we'd spend time together. So, you know, he has his interest, I have mine. He loves model railway trains. So when he decides to build it, sometimes I'd help him. Sometimes I'd give him advice on what's the best, you know, what do you call that?
Best layout.
The layout. But I leave him to it. And when he wants to go to his train shows, I let him to it because he needs
I never
his
feel
own.
I have to ask for permission to do something I love, which I think is you have to do in a marriage.
I mean, he had this massive model railway in our lounge that took up the whole space, and I allowed that for.
6 foot by 4 foot for nearly a year and a half.
Only
When I thought back and we took it out, so I've got a great wife there because let me do it because a lot of people wouldn't.
and
I
I
mean, they
actually,
wouldn't let me indulge myself in the own living room.
I
because they didn't know what it was
spent
like to
one
do.
night. I actually spent 6 hours laying down little
Cobblestones.
cobblestones for him because he couldn't. do
I haven't
it
got I wouldn't have the
himself,
patience to sit there for years doing it. I get frustrated, but she would have the patience for doing that stuff. So that's where we help each other in different things.
And
Like.
because I used to like doing like work with like beading and things like that, and you know, he was always just, if I said, oh, I need to go and get stuff, he'd never, you know, oh, not that again. He was very supportive, and
You have to support
he'd
each other.
go with me, you know, and even though I know he didn't want to.
No, I
so-
go. No,
Oh, you didn't want
I did
to.
want to. I did.
No, you're
I did.
lying.
I did.
But yeah, I think that's the thing. Like, just listen to each other and meet in the middle. You know, I mean, work is important and your home life is important, and you need to find the happy medium. You give each other space. You know, be together as well when you need to be. And
You work to live, not live to work.